to wrap up, one thing we need to talk about and seem to get, I don't know, overshadowed by the pandemic a bit was, of course, that we are in the midst of the 2020 census.
Right.
The county was due and still did do its kind of census day on April 1st, but that was, of course, the same day the stay-at-home order came into effect. Has that had any effect on folks filling out the census here in Arlington?
Well, the good news is that over 68%, I think it might be close to 65% of our households have been counted in Arlington, which is really encouraging. The point, of course, remains that we still have more than a third of our households to get counted. This year we had mounted our most aggressive effort ever to ensure a full count in Arlington. We had planned in-person gatherings, rallies to widely publicize the census and encourage people to be counted. We've been working with a pretty extraordinary complete count committee of a diverse group of residents from all over Arlington for over a year now at this point. We had invested these staff resources, this time, this money, convened this group of people because the census data is so important. As many people know, it determines how many seats we have in the House of Representatives and how federal funds are distributed to communities like Arlington. More than $675 billion in federal money every year is distributed on the basis of the census. And why I've been saying, while the pandemic has made a complete count harder, it's actually made it more important because that money is spent on things like public safety and hospitals, the very resources that are so necessary as we're seeing now. So while that number is encouraging, we absolutely need to get to 100% a complete count. And the Complete Count Committee has been doing all kinds of creative things, live chats. We had a Facebook chat on the census just earlier this week, heavy reliance on social media, more signage in more languages and strategies that are designed to reach communities that have been traditionally undercounted in Arlington. And the committee itself is engaging in all kinds of creative work. My favorite is the Complete Count Bingo, which includes different categories of underrepresented populations. And the Complete Count members and their partners are encouraged to call somebody from every one of those categories, whether it's a kid under 5, a senior in a congregate care living facility, or otherwise ensure that they're counted and they check off bingo along the way. The prizes are to be announced yet, but I'm sure they'll be competitive ones.
Yeah, it's been, and I want to compliment Katie because we're not on the in-person meeting, so you are always so good at feeding in the census. Like we're going along something, all of a sudden, and the census. Oh, right. You've done a great job on that, and the census is obviously not the only thing that's been overshadowed by this pandemic. It's pretty much dominating everything right now, but it's so crucial we get the census done. I think the timeline has been extended also, hasn't it, Katie, to get it in?
That is a great question. I think the census is shifting the in-person outreach where they'd send census takers, obviously, right. Trying to do more of the over-the-phone outreach, and I think is allowing more time to do that. But we really encourage everybody to complete their census today if they haven't. If you go to census.gov, you can complete it online. If you've not received a mail invitation, there's a place there to request more information so that you can complete it online and not have to receive a phone call or not require a census taker to put themselves at risk to come to your door.
Yeah. Is that outreach still planning to happen as we move through the summer if we still don't have those counts up?
So that is the actual work of the census taking is done by the federal government, the census itself. And so they've been keeping us apprised of how their plans are evolving. There will be, I know, some in-person census collection once it's safe to do so.
Okay, great. Well, we encourage everyone to get out there. Yep. Fill out your census forms. Online, phone, yep. What have you.
I did mine on April 1st. Somehow I feel like I should do it that day. So
it's count day, so it's a perfect day.
And you got Carrie, right? You counted Carrie.
I did. My child under 5, one of the most undercounted groups. People think their kiddos don't count, but they certainly do.
Yeah. All right. Well, and with that note, that's going to bring us to the end of this month's virtual edition of County Board Wrap Up. Libby and Katie, thank you both for joining us today virtually to walk us through some of the board's most important decisions in April. And of course, that will bring us to the end of this episode, one that has been reshaped by this COVID-19 pandemic, as so much of our lives have been. And of course, I want to take a moment to thank the board members for their leadership during this medical and economic crisis, as well as to thank those on the front lines of the pandemic. Our doctors, our nurses, medical professionals, the Virginia Hospital Center, our EMTs, firefighters, police officers, as well as folks like our grocery store workers, our delivery men and women, our teachers who are distance teaching our kids, our community, and everyone who is staying hunkered down to slow the spread of the virus. I'm Kara O'Donnell. We will be back one way or another next month with another edition of County Board Wrap. Until then, stay home, stay safe, wash your hands, wear that face mask when you're going out to public places, and have a plan in place in case you must self-quarantine. Thanks for joining us.